Welcome to DFW Running Talk. I'm Chris Detzel, so let's get started. All right, welcome to another DFW Running Talk. I'm Chris Detzel, and today we have two special guests, folks that I've run with a lot in the past and every now and then now, so when they show up to run. But we have Colin Hamilton and Phillip Harris. How you guys doing?
Good. How about you?
Good. Colin, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. I feel like you had to be coerced to say you're doing well, so it's good.
Twisted
You
his
just
arm.
get the pressure of, I always have to say I'm doing fine, so I'm not asked further questions.
I'm done. We're finished. I thought this would be a fun podcast to do because the three of us have run together for a pretty long time, since 2018, 19, when not necessarily our journey has started, but where we started running together was DRC, and had lots of really great conversations. And I just thought, let's continue these conversations on the podcast. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about your journeys, how you guys got into running and what that looks like now, past, now, and all that kind of stuff. I want to start with Colin. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my running history is a little bit interesting. So on July 13th, 2007, when I was 14.
Okay. I feel like I'm way older than you.
So I was ran over by a car, which a lot of people, and it missed my spine by 2 millimeters. And so on that
I
day,
didn't know we could get serious here, man. This is crazy already.
if it helps, I jumped on the car.
Oh, that's good. 14, you have the agility.
It was my older brother's girlfriend. It's just like all the dynamics are just great.
Okay.
Yeah, I get ran over and I break my pelvis. The reason I tell that is because like I'd always wanted to run in high school, not with cross country, just in general as like a way to stay healthy. And man, every time I'd hit 2 miles, my brain would just go, you're in a lot of pain right now. And where I broke my pelvis, like would just hurt. So for about 6 years, all the way until college, I would just get to 2 miles and quit because I just imagined I was like, I'm never going to be able to run past 2.
Yeah, that was in your mind. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I meet someone in college and they essentially just challenge me. They say, hey, try and run 3 miles. Just hit the 2 and try and go further. And so I remember the first time I did 2.25 and I was like, oh, I've never made it this far, but I had to quit. Then I did 2.5 and I was going to do 2.75. I saw what was happening and I ended up going to 3. And I was like, cool. So I got up to 3 miles in college, just casual running. And then I became a high school teacher.
Okay.
And
Congrats.
I wanted to de-stress. Yeah, I wanted to de-stress and 3 miles was not cutting it. So I remember running and I would do 4 and 5. And I had done a 10K at some point in college and was like super stoked about it.
That's a big accomplishment considering your mind was, I'm going to hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you kind of past that now.
Yeah.
Great.
So I would run 4 or 5. I would get to 6 on some days. And then my brain just, that like little seed that someone had planted in college said, do you think you could do 7? And then that 7 became 8.
Yeah.
And then on the 9-year anniversary of when I got ran over, I was like, I'm going to go run 9 miles as like a symbolic little thing. And I actually went to 10 on that day.
You should have stopped at 9 since it's symbolic.
Hey, I wanted to crawl to the 10. It was all about it. And the whole thing, like the marathoning thing had been in the back of my head. And so I was like, that's a bucket list thing. And so I was like, went to a running store and I said, hey, I ran 10 miles. Do you think I could do a half? And the guy was like, absolutely, you can do a half for sure. If you ran 10 miles. And I said, oh, cool. And then I went, do I want to be a half marathoner though? Is that really what I want to do? So I completely skipped. I did 0 halves and immediately signed up for a full, which do not recommend to anybody.
Nope.
I remember running my first
Wait,
half
stop
marathon.
there, Colin. I want to get Phillip's response to all that so far.
I've heard it before.
Okay.
Surprising.
This doesn't surprise you.
No.
You guys know each other well. All right, go ahead, Colin.
I run my first half marathon in my mom's neighborhood. Cheered for myself. One guy cheered for me. He was mowing his lawn. He was like, do you have a good run? I said, yeah, man, I just ran a half marathon. He goes, oh, congrats.
What was your unofficial time? I'm curious.
Listen, I shocked myself. So I remember I hit 12 and I went, I have to book it. I ran a 1:59:13.
That's pretty good when you just did it by yourself.
11 a.m. in the morning is
Oh,
when I
man.
started.
Love it.
And so then I did the Woodlands Marathon in 2017, which if you know anything about the Woodlands Marathon in 2017, the lead biker missed a turn.
Oh, no.
It was a half-mile short. So I ran 25.7 miles. And in my brain, I was like, I didn't do it.
Not
Nope.
it. You're a math guy, right?
And I teach high school. So, I've been building it up for these high school kids. And they were like, so you didn't do it.
That's right. Hey, all right, let's back up just a little bit because
Yeah,
I think that marathon is key because you didn't really, how'd you train? What'd you do like to think about that? Training, nutrition, all that stuff.
Yeah,
which
sure,
you probably
sure,
didn't do
sure.
anything, but whatever. I want to hear it.
So I would say my one saving grace was my wife is the dietitian, and she was like, you need to eat more. That was about
Good.
as far as that went.
That's fair.
I knew you had to eat during the run because I heard about like the goos with some endurance sports and all that. But in terms of racing, I went and looked up Hal Higdon's beginner marathon plan, which if you look that up, there's no speed work on it. It is all just base aerobic. So my brain went, oh, I should just run my race pace the entire time.
Like every single time you
Every
just went out
run.
to...
I was like, I'm going to run a sub 4. So 9:09 every run. And I was like, man, I'm feeling really good.
I mean, at least you're getting some base.
Yeah,
Running a little
for
too
sure.
fast probably, but still.
I still remember 2 weeks before the marathon, I like read something on Runner's World, and I told my wife, I said, I think I needed to be doing tempo runs, but I don't know what those are, and I think it's too late.
Yeah, probably psyched yourself out.
Yeah, race pace went really well until mile 21, and then I lost like an hour.
Yeah. Hey, that's pretty good. 21 miles, and a lot of people bonk at 21, 22. So that's
for sure.
kind of normal. In the first marathon, you basically did everything by yourself. You knew nothing besides,
my gosh, dude.
here's a plan. A lot of people do that, by the way. That's not...
The whole training season was insane. Like, yeah, I look back at that training season, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I ran more during that than I would at like when I had my best marathon a couple years ago in Detroit. Like, I think I was more consistent training, but I just didn't know what I was doing.
So that'll be the last question I asked for now. But I'm curious, how many marathons have you done since?
Yeah, so I just finished my 11th marathon in Houston this year in January.
Okay. We'll talk more about some of that later, but just curious. So you've had a lot of marathons in your belt, half marathons, all that kind of stuff, and you've been doing a lot of good stuff since 2017, 18. But love it. That's a pretty cool, interesting story. I can't wait to hear Phillip trying to top that. So let's go.
I can't do it. Chris, what do you want to know?
Just tell me, how did you get to start running? What kind of inspired you to do that? When did you do it?
I played soccer in high school, so we ran a decent bit, right? So warm up, coach says, hey, go run 12 laps around the field. And that's probably, or 2 miles or whatever. So that was probably about my cap in high school. And then...
were you a pretty good soccer player? Or?
Nah, I wasn't very good, but I wasn't very good, but I was fast. So.
You're
Anyway.
active, so I think that that's
active.
what I tell the high school kids is, let's get out there and run a little. Let's just do something. If you're in band, you ain't doing any running. Let's do something. That's what I tell my son. He loves band and it's great, but why he's here in the summer with me is like he's 14, going to the 9th grade. I was like, let's just do some 5Ks, and he does. And so I think that it's funny. He came to my house this summer and I've lost 8 pounds, Dad. Because he has to eat healthier because we don't have junk here, and he's doing a little bit more exercise. Anyways, go ahead, Phillip. Sorry.
No problem. Yeah, let's see. Probably 2007, 2008. As far as like endurance sports, I did a little bit of cycling. When I say a little bit, like I would train. I don't know how it is for if y'all ride much at all, but at least here it's too cold to ride in the winter, right? So I would ride a little bit starting April, and I'd ride through July, and maybe ride a few hundred miles. I did the metric 100, so for the Hotter Than Hell 1 year, and I did the MS 150 1 year.
Sounds ridiculous.
So I knew I had interest in endurance sports to an extent. Fast forward to Rebecca and I got married in 2012, and in 2013 we're like, hey, let's try to get in shape. Let's do a 5K. Yeah. So we did couch to 5K. Before that,
were you thinking you're like a little out of shape or something, and you're like, hey, I got to do something, or what?
Yeah, yeah.
You're overweight? I don't know.
Yes, I'll try not to get in trouble, but I gained some weight.
This is about you. Just
Yeah, this is about me. 5 or 10 pounds that I wanted to get rid of, and again had interest in endurance sports to an extent. So we did the couch. I did the couch to 5K. Rebecca might have joined me, but we did that together. Did a 5K in 2013, and then detrained for a couple years. We didn't do it again.
Detrained.
Yeah, so that was enough.
Started
And
eating more and did
yeah,
no exercise.
I know, but we did a couple more in 2015.
Okay.
And what the kind of driving factor here was Rebecca's family. She's got an uncle and cousins that were really into cross country. And in 2015, we thought that we might go up to Indianapolis for Thanksgiving, and they do a 4-mile drumstick dash. And we're like, how we can do 5K, but what about 4 miles? Like, how are we going to do that?
Same way.
Yeah, same way. You just keep going. So we're
Isn't
like,
it funny how daunting some of this sounds? You know, when you're
because there was
kind of crazy.
There was a wall after that. As soon as 3.11, there's a wall. We can't go past it. We end up working past it. We don't end up going on that trip, but we got more interested in running. We signed up for, again, I'm gonna say we a lot because my journey's closely tied to my wife's, but we did the Run Project had a package of 5 and 10Ks you could do, 12 or 13, 14 races, something like that. So we signed up for that package in 2016.
And you started racing the hell out of it. That's awesome.
Yeah, just really crushing it. We did our first 10Ks in January 2016 and ended up signing up for DRC. We didn't know what DRC was, but we're like, hey, this is a little more local, close to us, but we didn't know what that was.
So you just signed up for their races at the time, or was it the program?
It was the package, and then we signed up for DRC, but we didn't know anything about the races or anything. Like, we were just members. So then Rebecca's, what if we do? We argued even before 10Ks about. I was like, what if we do a 10K? And she's, no way, we're not doing it.
Those are hard.
And then we did it, and then she was like, hey, what about a half marathon? I'm like, let's do it. Let's do. Wow. So we signed up for Dallas, and we also signed up for DRC training, and so that fall of 2016 was our first season with DRC.
Okay. So your first half marathon was during the DRC training, or okay.
Yeah, we signed up for DRC. We trained with. There's all sorts of data that you give DRC, and they put you in a group and that sort of thing. So the data that I had was not good. It wasn't good data. It was accurate, but it wasn't. It put me in the 225 group.
Okay.
So that first season for half, not for marathon.
You're not there.
And, no, they're not there yet. And the first half I did was DRC half in 16. And our pace leaders, Vera Kretcher and Megan Reams, they paced me and Rebecca. And I did a 222.
Okay. Wow.
And I was training with 225, and it was not all the way through the season.
That's exactly what you wanted.
I'm like, okay. And I knew I had more. Like at the end of the race, I had a kick. I know I've got more than this, right? So it's like, what can I do next? So Dallas.
Another half or full? Okay.
Yeah, Dallas was the goal race for that season for me, and ended up doing a 211, I think. So.
Yeah, I know both of you have done really great things. It's funny because in general, this is a typical person's journey. Something like what you two and myself is very similar, right? It's different, but it's like we don't really get into running until later. Like when I say later, maybe we dabbled, like I did cross country in high school and things like that. Then I stopped doing it and got back into it. And you guys did some similar things, right? You didn't know anything about training or you're running. It's like Colin said, every run was a PR, even during training or the same.
Yeah.
I think is a typical journey of most human beings that get into running. Not always. I've talked to folks that have ran in high school, then went to college and ran and had really stellar running careers in a way, and then carries over. You're playing soccer, Phillip. So you two have certainly become pretty good friends, I think, during this whole thing. You met it, and I feel like we're friends, but I don't know that I'm as connected to the two of you. But when did y'all meet? I know we'll tell a little story about how we all met, but how did the two of you meet? Who wants to tell the story?
Yeah, I can kick us off, and I think Phillip can definitely take over. So I vaguely remember running with Phillip. Like DRC has these huge groups, and you're like, I see you. I will not talk to you at all during this run. Not intentionally, it just won't happen.
Thanks, I'm leaving.
And I remember Phillip was really impressed with me, and he really wanted to talk to me.
Oh man, this is getting off. Okay.
So yeah, I remember seeing
It's
Phillip.
not untrue.
I was impressed with you, Colin, when I first.
Thanks. That's what I'm really just going for. I just want people to really be blown away by who I am as a person.
I still don't think you've hit your potential, but still, you'll get there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, I remember running with Phillip a couple times, and then yeah, I think at this point, did you approach me or did I approach you? There was like one time where we were like, we should run together.
Yeah, I think that was. I went back and looked, and I did a whole bunch of show prep on this. So yeah, no. 2019 is. I think that was our first run together.
Okay.
You and I went on a. It was a lake loop that we did.
Solo run.
Yes. And it was just me and Phillip. And yeah, it was like within a mile, we were like, here's my life story. And it just started like pouring out. And so it was just like one of those like rare things when you like meet someone and you're like, oh, we connect really well. And I was like, here's all my stuff. And then Phillip was like, here's all my stuff. And I'm like, cool, we both have stuff.
Colin, it's funny because I remember when I first started running with you, I just knew the potential that you have. Like, you've done some really good marathons, I think, in some halves and things like that. But I've always been impressed with kind of your ability. And even at one point, you got so serious about your training and about really focusing in and trying to run a really fast marathon. And I was impressed with that. I was like, okay, Colin's finally got extremely serious about this. Not to say you weren't before, but when you get into DRC for the first time or into training, you're still learning, even if you've learned some, and then what happens, people get off a little bit of the DRC focus and then get a little bit, I don't say they're not serious anyways, but they get a coach or those kinds of things and get some really focused in. Been pretty impressed with what you've been doing, just your journey and things like that. So that's the first time I remember seeing you run and then seeing you race. I was like, wow, that guy, he's got some ability and effort or time. Now he's got some serious kind of stuff. And I remember with Phillip, I just know that the biggest thing I remember about you is you're very serious too. But is you and I sometimes would be at a race and it feels like I got closer to you through races, I guess. We would do Cowtown or something like that.
Right.
And we're right there together. You're passing me, I'm passing you. And I was like, God dang.
We'd meet up at mile 9, I feel like. Maybe up the hill into.
You'd pass me up the hill, I'd pass you down the hill, and then
you descend better than I do, and I ascend better than you do, and we just go back and forth the rest of the race, I feel like. Yeah. And it's happened multiple times, and we didn't plan it.
That's right. That happened more than once.
Yeah.
And so it was just interesting seeing, I think you kicked my ass both times, I guess, at the end. I was like, at the end, man, I have nothing. I'm just trying to stay with you during the one. But it's just interesting to see those journeys. Do you guys still run together? Is when you can? Or I know I've been seeing you some both on Tuesdays during the track workouts.
Yeah, Phillip is one of my best friends. We run all the time together. I would say at least, if not once a week, once every 2 weeks. We definitely.
Don't you trade recipes and stuff? I think I saw something like that.
Yep, we definitely cook together too.
Yeah, we trade food and
No, that's serious. I was like, what?
No, yeah, we're like,
that happened at one of our runs, right?
I have a jar of curry paste in my fridge from Phillip right now.
That's great.
Yeah, so yeah, it was like we started that run in 2019, and then just like from there, I was like, oh, hey, you like Indian food? And it's rare to meet other white people who are like, I also really like Indian food. So we were like, let's go get Indian food together.
Now, do you guys go out as a family? The whole family gets together and hang out, or is it just the two of you that just really?
Whole fam, all of me and Sarah.
Well, you and Sarah, and then Phillip has just one or two now.
One, yeah.
Okay, just one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I always forget.
We haven't gone out with Owen like to a restaurant yet, I don't think.
Okay. That's always a struggle, is when they're really young, trying to get them to, because you're spending all the time with the kid. So what's next for you guys? What are you thinking about?
Yeah, so I ran Houston this year, which if you did Houston this year, God bless you, because it was a terror of a race.
It was cold and windy and
so windy. Yeah, Phillip, it was really windy outside. I don't know if you were aware.
I got a bib. It's right here.
We'll go ahead and fill everyone in on that real quick. So
yeah, do it.
Phillip and I trained for this race together. Probably more consistently than we've trained for any other race together.
That's good.
and we stayed at the same Airbnb. We were going to both do this full marathon together. This was my last marathon for a year. I'm going to give Phillip some grace right now. He had another marathon coming up.
Uh-huh.
So for me, this was like, this is my race. So the night before, we're at an Airbnb that's 3 stories tall. It is so windy. The beds we're on are like hard as rocks. We can just hear the wind banging against the window the whole night. I got 3 hours of sleep, and I'm a pretty good sleeper.
Yeah.
So I was like, this thing is good. It was just like taunting you the whole night. Like, this race is going to suck. And I was like, okay. So I wake up at 4:30 to a text from Phillip that says,
A text?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
hey, I don't think it makes sense for me to run this race today.
Oh my God, Phillip, just
Yeah,
because
I
it's
said-
cold?
I'd been sick too before the race, and I didn't sleep at all, and I was just like, even leading up to, with Houston, you can switch over pretty easily for to the half marathon.
Okay.
And for some reason, my brain was operating so well. I don't know if it was dad brain or just because I was sick too. I was like, I can switch over to the half marathon the week of. And they're like, no, that was last Tuesday, not that Tuesday. So mentally, like going into that race week, like I wasn't even really prepared to do the marathon. And I was like, I guess I'm doing the marathon. And then the night, like again, that Colin story is the same way. Our rooms, we had some separate rooms, but the same setup. The beds were the same. They were like hard as a rock. And all night that wind was just pounding on the windows. And it was just like, I got no sleep. And I said, hey guys, I'm going to go into spectator mode today. Sorry. I went to sleep, and I hadn't really slept up to that point. And after that, I slept like a baby for a couple hours.
It's
Yeah.
like, I got that off. I'm
Yeah, I
done. Good night.
Oh, thank God. So I think we did our best to get on the course and see Colin at, what was that, mile 7 or 8? And we didn't even, we missed Colin.
He's I was too tired and couldn't
Yeah,
see you. So
yeah,
I
sorry.
was sick.
We caught you at 19 or 20, I think. But the signs that people hold up and they're like, trained, that didn't, like talking about cheering for at a race, right? Like holding the sign.
To hold the
Yeah.
sign.
I rang that cowbell for 2 or 3. Who trains for that? I didn't train for that.
My arm hurts.
That's really tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did no training at all.
All
I've
the
done
carb
that.
loading.
I've done Houston a lot, and I've
Yeah.
also been a spectator and with Leah doing the marathon and stuff some. And one, it's a great race. Two is spectating is cool because you can go from one place and then jog over to another place. You know what I mean? And spectate in different miles and you get to see some elites. Houston's a great race, but
Yeah.
so how'd you do, Colin? So your buddy was
Yeah,
gone
so-
and let
yeah.
you down a little, but
So it was really wild because
Kinda
we'd
sucks.
both gotten sick 2 weeks beforehand. So both of
Okay.
us, I think we both ran one time before the actual marathon during our taper, which is not how you should do a taper, by the way. I ran 3 miles and it was like, oh, I feel really bad.
less in 2 weeks, that's all you ran was 3 miles before the
Yeah.
race? Okay.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Mentally, that really is a tough thing.
Sure,
for
yeah. And I ended up running a 3:34, which I was super happy with.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I'm stoked on it. I was really great. And so it was cool. I found a group of women who were trying to qualify for Boston around mile 13. I said, okay, this will motivate me to help them with their mental game so I can help myself with my mental game. That's my MO. Is if I'm helping you, it's probably going to benefit me in some way.
I just think that during stuff like that is you do whatever it takes to mentally get past that next step, right? Like
It gives you some structure, right? It gives you
Yeah.
something to look forward. If I didn't have that, and this is really like a lot of like why I love running, is if I didn't have something to look forward to, the rest of that race was going to be awful. I was at mile 13 and I was like, I'm just going to have to endure this whole thing. But it's now I ran with one of them until about mile 21. And that's when I was like, all right, my body is starting to like give a little bit and I'm starting to like crash. But yeah, I was stoked on 3:34. I was on pace for 3:30 for the whole marathon, and then I lost about 4 minutes. Yeah.
So we'll get back to you because I have some questions about some ice cream. But so Phillip, one thing that I remember is that you were hardcore and really just doing some stuff, but then you guys have a baby, and I think that's been quite the adjustment. Can you talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Leading up to Owen was born in, so he was supposed to be born in October. It was November of 2023. So he's 19 months old now. That season I did run a marathon leading up to him being born as a last hurrah.
I remember that.
You were there. We could tell that story too if we want. But switched into half marathon mode after he was born, just trying to get miles in, stay in shape. And then this last summer was crazy. We moved, and what else happened? There was like storms that happened last summer that impacted us a lot. And so it was like I'd be in decent shape, and then I'd just stop running for a week or two, and then pick it back up, and then
It wasn't as consistent as you'd like.
it wasn't as consistent. But really, like once that Houston training block that Colin was talking about, once we got I got lined up with that. Like I jumped straight back in. September this last year was 80 or 90 miles, and then I flipped it over. I doubled that and just jumped back, just like straight back into like I was marathon
So
training
80 or
again.
90 miles a month, and then you double that to 180.
And then
because some people I talk to are doing 80 or 90 a week. So I'm just
sure,
trying to make sure.
yeah, a month.
Good. 100 to me, 180 to 200 miles a month, I think is plenty.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely is. Yeah.
I'm hitting right now like 160-ish, 150, just to try to stay in shape. But I think that in general, it's really difficult to get, 60 to 80 to 100 miles a week, period.
Yeah, sure. Even 50.
That's all you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Even 50 is tough.
Yeah.
I agree. 50 to me is, my body can only take probably 40-ish miles a week. And that's when I start getting higher miles like that, my things start to break down.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, my peak during my best marathon was 64.
Yeah,
during the
which I
week.
think
About right.
is good. So Phillip, what's next for you? What do you think?
Yeah, so the plan, we talked about Houston, right? So that was a goal. The goal was to see where I was at. Didn't run the race. Still have the bib on the wall as a reminder. Signed up for Houston in 2026. So the goal is to do that marathon. But depending, again, being a dad now, running is still important. Like I love running, but it's like a marriage and running. It's like it's third or fourth down the list, and there's so many things that come up that you can't plan for, and sometimes it's just getting sleep. But not doing Houston.
But Owen's getting older, so
yeah,
hopefully
he's
he's
getting
sleeping
older,
better and things like that.
Yeah, he's sleeping better, and we take him out for runs and that sort of thing. But it was like after Houston, I got sick before Houston, and then I had a marathon. I did Mount Charleston in April, and between that in the end of that Houston block and Mount Charleston, I got sick 3 times.
Jeez, dude.
So I'd start training, getting better shape, and then would be off for a week or two. And
This
then
is what we call real life.
Yeah, it's real life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like not having kids is like playing. It's like life on like easy mode, cheat mode in a way. And then kids, it's just having a kid. It's great, but it does change.
Changes your life. You
Yeah.
know, it's just you have to try to figure out how to deal with it, especially when they're so young. Your life is not going to be running anymore. Like it's going to be the first 2 to 3 years is try to manage the baby and together, and then it's a whole new life for the two of you, and you're adjusting to
finding
all
that
that
balance, right?
Yeah, and then you bought a new
still needs to
house.
be a part of it, right?
Trying to figure that out. It's a
Right.
lot of stuff.
Yeah. So to answer your question, I'm going to do the DRC half in November, and I'm going to see where I'm at training wise. And if things go well, and I feel like I can put a good effort into Houston, then I'll do the marathon for Houston. And I'm going to have a calendar reminder the day I can switch Houston over to officially do the half marathon.
Good idea.
I'm doing the half, so maybe if you decide to switch there, you and I can race it together.
I'll see you there.
You gonna do the half, Colin?
Yep.
Ooh, that'd be fun to race it. So, just quickly, I have a half coming up in September. I'm gonna do the downhill Revel race in Utah.
You're going back.
Huh? Yeah, I'm going. So I just did a quick hit, like, hey, I'm gonna leave Thursday night, Friday get the stuff, and then Saturday run it, and then leave Saturday night or Saturday evening, because I PR'd on that course, and so I want to try to PR again. Anyways, the point is, I'm gonna do. I might do DRC half. I'm not sure yet. For sure, I'll do Dallas half, but then I'm gonna do really well at Houston because I ran a 131 or 2 last time I ran there, so I'm trying to see if I can break 130 in Houston.
Hey.
Definitely want to break, because that's just a flat. It's not a downhill. Definitely my goal in September is to go faster, like a 125, 126 if possible. I don't know, because downhill is possible, I think.
That's awesome.
But so would love if you, so Colin, maybe you and I can kind of see, where do you think you are? What do you think? What's your goal for the half?
Yeah, so after this full, I'm taking a year off till Houston half to focus on 5Ks and
Yeah,
speed
I'm
work.
doing some of that.
And yeah,
Have you run a 5K recently? What have you done?
Oh man, I ran one in February, and then
February.
well, yeah, yeah. We'll probably get into this because you're gonna ask about ice cream stuff, but like I'm a big proponent of mental health and running and making sure you're okay. And I was going through some stuff in April that came up, and I was like, okay, so I'm hoping to do one in August and line up some maybe 3 or 4 for the fall.
Okay.
I don't know if the Dallas Marathon's still doing their 8K, but that would be a fun distance to go try out.
Yeah.
So the goal would be for Houston, I would like to see a 128, 127.
Nice. I should stick together.
Boston has convinced me that I should always run sub 3 regardless of my age, so I will just forever be sub 3.
What's your best marathon?
I ran a 318
Okay.
with a lot of Phillip pointed out a lot of asterisks for me that I should put on that race because I was going for a 310 that day, and he was like, your wife just had surgery, you were not sleeping in your bed, you were helping her do stuff like at 3 a.m. in the morning, and like you still trained for a marathon.
Yeah. Look, I
Holy
think
smokes.
that this is real life. This is things that just happen in life that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And I think it's the beauty about running to me is that there's always another race. And
Sure.
sometimes running will let you down, but sometimes you do amazing things and you're just pumped that you did this. And then sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board, Colin, and say, I'm going to do some 5Ks. I want to get fast again, which I'm not saying you're not fast, but get some of that speed back and then let's kill it in January or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
It's that different muscle group too. And also, man, I have a memory that haunts me from high school. So I was a theater.
He's in his own head.
I was a theater kid, and I remember walking down the hallway where like our athletics part of the school was at, and this guy just asked me, he goes, are you a runner? And I was like, no, man. And I was like, dang, he was definitely recruiting me for the cross country team.
Definitely don't. This is what you're saying.
I was like, I do improv. Have you heard of that?
Hey, I used to do that. It was fun.
Improv is fun.
Phillip, any improv in your past or kind of didn't do that kind of stuff?
No, I'm odd man out.
Yeah. So we won't talk about that. So I know, Colin, back in the day, you used to make some ice cream. It was really good.
I did.
Like literally you would make ice cream. And then you started selling ice cream, I think. And then all of a sudden you didn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like it was blowing up for you. You were making it, but it was a lot of work and effort because you had a full-time job, you were doing running and all these things that you're doing. I don't know. So I was like, I don't tell Leah. I was like, he keeps making ice cream. Now he's selling it and maybe he goes into business. Who knows? And so I thought that was a potential avenue. And obviously it didn't happen, but I'm curious, like, because it was for the runner. Like at first it was just for the runners. So you would have some ice cream there and it was really good. And so I'm curious. I'm trying to bring this back to running.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we can. Sure. Yeah, so as I mentioned previously, I'm a teacher, right? So when COVID happened, my job became nothing. I would hold tutoring hours because I was supposed to in my hammock, and I would fall asleep during them because no one came to them.
Right.
So
no kid learned anything during COVID.
And then I literally a week into March 2020, you're quarantine and running's the thing I can really focus on right now. I injured my calf. And yeah, so I was out for 3 months until a chiropractor opened up and was deemed essential. So I needed something to do. Like I needed some sort of structure. And we had an ice cream maker we had never used. And so guy through Instagram, we followed his recipe and I got into making ice cream and I started sharing it with people and people were like, this is really good. And then they were like, this is really good. And during COVID, I don't know how deep you want to go, but it's interesting time, right? A lot of like cultural turmoil is happening, like George Floyd, Black Lives Matter movements happening. We're starting to question the idea of social media itself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was running it through social media. And essentially I got to this place where without divulging too much, I realized like I wasn't paying attention to the stuff that mattered. And when I was making all this ice cream and I was actually talking to people who were like, how much money do you want to start your business? And I was like, I'm a teacher and I don't know what you're even asking me. Like, what? I remember someone had just asked me and they were just like, what do you want out of this? And that stuck in my head. And I wish my story was like and I thought deeply about it and I came to my own conclusion and said I should just quit. That's not what happened. My life like hit this like crashing point. And so, yeah, this is why I'm a big fan of like mental health and running and everything and taking like time to process through stuff, because I was having panic attacks. And yeah, I just had realized I was like, I never wanted this to be a business. Like I wanted to do this for fun. People thought I was leaving teaching. I love teaching. It's a lot of fun.
You don't want to get that around to the school, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, so the thing was, my boss was like, I'm so excited for when you open your ice cream business. And I was like, what is happening right now? I was like, this is not what I wanted, but I had pulled like a couple 22-hour days and I was like, this is ridiculous. I can't survive on this. And yeah, so after that, I just quit and I'm still making ice cream. I just don't do it every week. It's more like I do it in summers when I have a lot of time off. But yeah, for me, that was like a big reveal of, okay, what do I say no to? What's the healthy subtraction I need to do in my life? And what is the things that I want to say yes to?
Did you think about, did you stop running during that time too? Or did you kind of, when you stopped doing the ice cream, because I feel like you disappeared for a little while. Like completely disappeared. Like I was like, I don't even know where he is anymore.
Running would get sacrificed a lot. But yeah, no, I took a step away from DRC. Like I said, I was like starting to have panic attacks and started realizing like my mental state, like I'm not okay. And that was starting to pop up in 2020 a lot. And as I said before, like I'm a millennial. So like I've had my phone in my hand since like I was 12. And just going through the whole process of what social media does to a brain. And now everyone's like finally catching up. There's that book, The Anxious Generation, that was like blowing up everywhere now. But I realized like there was an image I was presenting to the world that I'm okay, I'm a runner, I'm making ice cream, I'm a high school teacher. And I was like loving the image because everything that I was doing looked really good. And then like on the inside, I was like having panic attacks. And I'm not okay. My body was telling me we can't like sustain this. And so running would get cut quite a bit. And then when I hit like my moment where I felt like my life was falling apart, yeah, I had to take a step back. I was like, I need to figure out what's going on with me. And so I took a huge break. I don't think I did a marathon for, 2 years. And I came back.
There's a lot of pressure too whenever you go through marathon training and actually hit a marathon, which some of that's good, but
yeah,
it sounds like for some of the things that you're going through, the ice cream thing, you got the work thing, you got COVID, you got running. There's a lot going on for you.
Yeah.
Social media maybe.
Yeah. So I did the work, as the millennials say, on myself. And yeah, I'm in a place now where I can genuinely like look at myself and say, wow, I really like who I am. I like who I'm becoming. And with running, even there like became this image, like you were saying, like you saw all this potential in me. Other people had saw this potential in me and were like, you could probably qualify for Boston. And I was like feeling all this pressure to do that. And so when things were starting to fall down, like when your whole life is trying to run at like an A+ level, you're not going to sustain that at all.
Yeah. I apologize if I put too much pressure on you.
No,
it's like,
Chris Detzel, this is my stuff. You are not responsible for my stuff.
I get that. I'm just saying I want to put unnecessary pressure on people.
But you didn't.
You're a great runner. That's what I see.
Absolutely. And I still feel that way, but now it's more like, we'll get back to running right now. So you can get stuck into this idea of I need to run this pace at all times. Like easy runs should be this, fast runs should be this. And I'm very much in like the place now where it's your watch. I think I got this from Mark Coogan. Your watch doesn't tell you how fast to run. It tells you how fast you ran. And that difference right there for me was like, oh, okay. So I can run tempo effort and not tempo pace and still get the same benefits because my body is telling me now. And so like, I think we kind of get stuck into this mindset of like, even just with the way our education system's set up, but like that you are your brain, right? And that's all that matters for you. And so it's like your brain says you have to run this number, but your body is literally telling you, I can't do this. Like, I can't keep doing this. And I'm a very big proponent of, hey, that's what we need to be doing. So like even this year, when I knew I was like, oh, I'm about to go through some stuff in April, I was like, my running's going to cut back. I ran 30 miles that month.
Yeah, I mean, shit happens,
that's okay.
right?
Yeah. And so I'm back at it now. We're getting back into it. We're going to sign up for a 5K and run a fast time, hopefully, and we'll see what happens.
So Leah's a big proponent of, she had a coach for many years And her coach said, instead of thinking of a time to run when you're doing your speed work and things like that, you might think of 5K speed or half marathon speed effort. So looking at effort rather than times. And so it took her a bit to get to that.
Yeah.
But I like that mentality as well. As like, I just want to run fast on this particular day or pace or whatever when it comes to tempo and not worry about the exact time and things like that.
Yeah.
So Phillip, I'm curious, like, do you have specific goals like for when you look at a half marathon or even this full, do you kind of look at number, hey,
Sure.
my
Yeah.
best is 3:30. I don't even know what your best is, to be honest. I don't really run marathons anymore because, as Colin suggested to me, that's too much pressure. And I just don't like it. I just don't. But a lot of people do, and I've done them. But I'm curious to understand more of what your thinking is around that.
Yeah, I think for me, marathon wise, my best is a 3:16 and
Oh,
change,
damn.
closer to 3:17. So I'm
Wow.
a little faster than Colin in the marathon, but
Woo!
everything else slower. For now, I think I really think I could do ideal, like an ideal situation. I think I do close to a 3-hour marathon, maybe a high two, very high two. As far as putting in the type of work right now, I don't know. I don't know when that'll be, but like in my head, that's a goal for down the line. It's been a goal for a while.
Have you thought about like the people you train with? So, for example, no, I'm not saying not to train with Colin, but what I'm saying is like when you go through there's groups out there now, literally like Pegasus or let's just say Pegasus, for example. These guys, for the most part, a lot of those folks, women, men, are running 3 hours and under, and they're doing specific training things. Now, it's a lot of pressure and a lot of effort, but every one of them under
Yeah.
3 hours or close to it. And so there's something said about specific groups that can hit those times, putting yourself around those kinds of people on a consistent
Yeah,
basis. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that a lot recently, just because my schedule's different right now. DRC Tuesday night runs don't make sense.
Yeah.
That's when Owen goes to bed. That's that's work in and of itself, and so I've been doing Tuesday morning track runs. Like I felt like with kind of stripping down everything and kind of building everything back, similar to it's probably influence of Colin a little bit, but really taking time to okay, I want to do a 2 mile warm up, and then we get to the track, and let's do the drill, like the drills that people talk about, like form drills and that sort of thing, like things that probably should be doing, focusing on doing a track workout and a cool down, and then let's put some strength. I need to run or I need aerobic exercise and that sort of thing, but I need strength too, right? So I need to start putting all these pieces in
Do
place.
some push-ups and lunges and things like that.
Exactly. And just to be able to pick up Owen. So another along those lines, running with guys at the group at the track, like that was just I knew the track was open, right? There's only a few tracks that are open in Dallas. So finding a track, okay, I know where that track is. I know it's
It's
open.
easy.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go there. I don't know who's gonna be there when I get there. I know that Colin's gonna run with me and a few other guys, and we show up, and you're there, and other people are there, but there was a quote the other day that I heard Cooper Flagg say. I think his mom that he
Cooper
was the
Flag,
guy,
Dallas
yeah, Cooper
Maps.
Flagg.
Anyway,
But I thought it was really it was I think his mom told him this. She said, if you're the best guy in the gym, you need to find a new gym. And I'm not saying that again. I'm not saying I was the best in DRC, but I was working up towards I was faster into DRC, and my schedule's different now. So it's like shifting a little bit to fit that schedule. But we go out to the track, and the runners that are there, it's holy cow! Like it seems like everyone there. It's not
well, you get the
accurate. Like,
slots. So those
yeah, see
guys,
this,
when you see them, you're like, oh my God. But
like,
they're running
holy cow!
2:30s or 2:40s
Sure.
marathons.
But what's fun about like the DRC, it's very structured, right? But where we met was fast track, right? You get a larger group together of somewhat a broad range, but there were 2 or 3 groups for
Yeah.
fast track when we do that.
Remember that.
And we'd show up for our first year. It was me and Rebecca and a few other people, and we were in the A group, and we're like, we don't know any of these runners, and we called ourselves the A minus group because we'd straggle back. We'd hardly make it to the track in time to start the workout, right? But that was Chris. That's where we met. That's where Colin and I met. Like, and you're doing those workouts at your own pace, but you're seeing what other people are doing. You're
can do.
pushing yourself differently
Yeah.
than you would be if you're with a
That's
group of a tighter group.
Yep.
Yep.
So all that to say is I really think that, and the group dynamic has changed a lot in the last, like since I started running. There are so many groups that are out there, and you can really find your people out of
Find your niche.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I see. So DRC has evolved over the years in good ways or whatever. But the one thing that I've always seen is those faster runners, and even WRC, like White Rock Running Co-op, started because a group of runners wanted to push themselves to another limit, right?
Yeah.
And so that's really when they first started in like 2012 or 11 or something like that. But I've seen that a lot with DRC, for example, is you have these really fast runners that want to get to these for a half or sub threes for a full, and they have to move on. So they've hit their niche with DRC. I mean, that's the beauty about DRC is it's very structured. You can find a group that, generally within your pace range, and it teaches you a lot because as a new runner, man, you just don't know anything. So I think that the beauty today, yeah, exactly. The beauty though today is once you have that structure and that mindset to go to that next level, there's tons of groups out there.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
The Sloths are the fastest within Dallas. Then you got Pegasus, which is that next level kind of sloths, and then other groups like that can help you get to that level. And I believe, 100% believe that community is the key to really be able to do that. Finding your friends that are similar paces, similar kind of, or finding new friends that can push you, kind of what you said about the Cooper flag thing is if you're the best person in the room, then it's time to find other people to play with. Not to ditch people, I'm not saying that, but it's to better yourself. Running is somewhat of a selfish sport. If you want to hit these times and goals, I want to hit times and goals, but I see it now as, man, I get to run with people, my friends. I get to see you at the track and what are you guys doing? I'll just do that, like that kind of stuff. And I just see now as a fun thing. Yes, I want to hit PRs, especially in the half. Full, I don't really care about. I'm like, I don't really know why y'all do that, but it is what it is. Is there anything I should have asked you guys that I haven't? I'm sure I missed a ton of things. Anything that that you can think of that we didn't talk about?
I think it would just be helpful since I feel like we've all seen like really significant improvements over the course of the last few years with our running. Like, what would you attribute as maybe not the most important thing, but like a key thing that you changed up from what you were doing before to now that you feel like is attributed to your success?
So you're asking me that?
I'm asking everybody that.
Go ahead, Phillip.
This is my podcast now.
Perfect.
The miles and having that, I think running with DRC introduced that the community, the accountability, and the structure that wasn't there in my life before that. So getting with people, running with people that, like you, kind of like we talked, that path we were talking about, like finding people to run with, and really putting those miles and putting in the work, whether just miles and cross training, those few things, and that's the biggest thing for me, I think.
Both of you have taken leadership roles, both DRC and other things.
Yeah.
For whatever positive, negative, I don't know, but you learn a lot from some of that stuff. And for me, for the last few years, it's been one, certainly I think putting in the miles is key, putting in the work is key. You have to do those things, whether it's long miles or even the faster miles. My philosophy for a long time was definitely put in the miles, but I like to race a lot. Whether it's 5Ks, a lot of half marathons throughout the years to get that race day experience. I believe that before you go on your main race and main race day, that you have to race a little bit before to understand what it's like. Because what happens is on race day, and if you're not experienced and if you took a complete year off, you forget how the nerves are. Hey, you have to go to the bathroom before, or like little things or eat, what do you eat during that race or whatever. And so, if you can get some 5, 10Ks in, even a half marathon in before a few months or a month or so before, I think that's key. And then 2 is, look, running is hard to stay motivated sometimes, but I love it for the community aspect. I love it for a lot of different reasons. It keeps me in shape, keeps me skinny. I love all of that. But how do I motivate myself? One of the ways was, why don't I start a podcast? How do I keep running and start this podcast? So in October, I started a podcast and I wanted to talk to people all over the DFW, people I would never talk to or run with because maybe they're too fast or maybe I don't know about them. And people start recommending, and everybody wants to be recognized. And I've done podcasting for years and years for other things, but never for something that I love. And I was like telling Leah, I was like, why not start a niche running podcast in Dallas, Fort Worth? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody else is doing anything like it really. whether I talk to race directors or whatever. So I think motivation is key to continue it going. You have to get up and do the work, whether you want to or not, but I find different things to keep me going. I'm a pretty hardcore focused guy. Kind of Colin, sometimes we get too much into our own little hobbies, and we got to be realistic too, to say, look, this is a hobby. I'm not getting paid for it. And even if I was, I have a full-time job. I got to do these things. So I'm in that right now.
Yeah.
I'm spending my own money doing this thing, and I'm fine with it. But the point is, like, you got to find things that continue to motivate you. Motivation's not the main factor, but it is a factor into keeping you going.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
You talk to people that are way faster than you by hours and upon hours, and it's pretty cool to listen to kind of what they're doing. Like one dude was, I was doing 120 miles a week. Oh, I was like, I'll never do that, but I'm doing 40 miles a week now.
But I feel like even with some of the faster people, it's like when you look at some of their plans, you're like, I'm not that far off from what you're doing. You're just doing it like, for me, like the big thing was like balance. Like you're doing this just a little bit differently than I am. Maybe I'm doing too much and it was like to my detriment. My first marathon was not great. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't great. But I think I ran more miles that time, and now I'm like running less, but I'm running smarter. That's a big thing.
I think that's one thing you learn. I talked to this guy the other day. He's now a 240 marathoner, right? I think he might have hit 239. I don't remember. But point is, he wasn't always a 240 marathoner, right? Like I think he ran 4 something, then 3s, and then, so I mean, it's a continuous journey if you want to get better from a time standpoint. But now, although I still want to get better, how much more? I mean, I'm 50, right? So how many more PRs do I have? I don't know. Like, I think it's still doable for a half, but
yeah,
maybe it's not. I don't know. But
man, I'm 31, and I sometimes think through that, and I'm like, how many more PRs? When is the
you have a
downhill
lot,
at this
dude.
point?
Like, well, I think that the way I've been told and the way I now look at it is your 20s is different than your 30s, different than your 40s, and different 50s. You're not the same person. And especially, Colin, you've been running for a long time, since your mid to late 20s. And your body is different. You're getting older. I'm not saying you still got PRs in you for sure, but at some point you got to think about, I'm not 30 anymore. I'm not 40 anymore. So that becomes a factor at some point. But for now, you're fine. I think both of you have got some really good racing in you. But guys, it's been good.
Yeah.
It's already been an hour.
No.
Here we are and talked about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, good luck naming this episode.
Yeah.
It won't be hard. All right, you guys. So thank you guys for coming on. I really do appreciate it. And thank you for those that have tuned in to another DFW Running Talk. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. It's dfwrunningtalk.substack.com. Please subscribe. You'll get all of the stuff about the episodes and everything else on that newsletter. Please don't forget to rate and review us. Really appreciate everyone again listening in. Until next time, Phillip, Colin, thank you both for coming on today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.